All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod Brother Nation. You guys all know me as Hey, Stop That Guy's Got My Wallet if we're in Central Park, but we're not. We're here in my studio, Pod Brother Nation, and I have the honor of having Charles I. Brown
Clarence.
on,
Clarence.
CEO, Clarence, I'm sorry, Clarence from CEO. Sorry about that, Clarence.
Uh-huh.
It was a late night last night. I went all out and late for Juneteenth,
Oh yeah,
and
I hear you. I hear
so
you.
I'm
I
still
mad at you. I hear you.
I'm still a little woozy. Yeah. So, Clarence, thanks for coming and hanging with us, and
Sure.
I'm glad to have you. Let me tell the folks a little bit about you before we get going. Our today's host on Laugh and Give Until It Hurts, which is a stand-up comedy campaign that we are developing to do fundraisers sponsored by PayGive for multiple charities and foundations using some of the comedic talent that I have access to and some of those resources. So sponsored by PayGive, we developed Laugh and Give Until It Hurt comedy campaigns. And on July 27th, we're doing a fundraiser for the Parkinson's Foundation in honor of Terry Shapiro. She's in final stages of Parkinson's. God bless her soul. And we decided to maybe try to do something to help her out. But our honored guest today, our distinguished guest, is making waves in the world of health and wellness with women of color. I want you guys to welcome Clarence Brown. He's the CEO of Heart and Soul magazine. As the driving force behind Heart and Soul, Clarence has dedicated himself to promoting the well-being of women of color by captivating content in areas ranging from food, travel, entertainment, entrepreneurship. And today we're exploring new editions of the Heart and Soul platform, their exciting partnership with PayGive, an innovative fundraising platform. Join us as we uncover some visions, missions, and remarkable achievements of Heart and Soul magazine and learn more about how we can collaborate with PayGive and the revolutionary way of nonprofit fundraising and support the cause that truly matters. So,
Great.
Clarence, thank you for hanging out with us,
Oh,
and
thank you for having me.
I'd
Thank you.
like to jump into. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me. I enjoy your show. I think we've done something before with some other groups, so it's good to see you again. And love to be in front of your audience and talk about Heart and Soul and what we've been doing over the past years. We've been around since 1993, and my partners and I have owned it for quite a few years now. And the key focus is health, fitness, and wellness. And we focus on women of color because, women help the family get healthy. Because, us guys, sometimes we'll drag our feet and we won't do what we need to do. But when it comes to the women in our family, moms, wives, sisters, they get your butt to the doctor, get that checked out. Don't mess around. And so they keep us in
Right.
line. So it makes the most sense for us to focus on them and give them the information because the guys, sometimes we just won't delve in like we should and get our health needs taken care of. So that's why we focus. It's always been focused on women since 1993. So we're happy to continue that tradition.
Yeah, no, that's very cool because we have been known to kind of push issues aside, pretend things ain't happening, sweep things under the rug.
Right.
So it's cool that your magazine is one of those magazines that kind of addresses put it on the forefront, put it in the light, put it on the table, so
Yeah.
we can have some conversation about it.
Yeah, that's our focus.
And
That's what makes sense for us. That's our niche.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's very very cool. Now you're involved in some other organizations that it takes a lifetime to achieve some of the experiences and that you need to run a magazine and to put together campaigns and create some content that you want to
Mhm.
go into the magazine and some of the people that you want to help. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know that you've worked with the
Okay.
Urban League, you worked with
Yeah, I work with a lot of
NBC
groups.
for
Yeah.
Black Nurses Association. Tell us a little bit about your background and some of the things that you've done so I can share with my audience the
Okay.
depth of your experience so that we can understand, the what you bring to the table with content
Okay.
that you put in the magazine.
Okay. So, it's funny. I've been in publishing since 1976. So there's some people in your audience that weren't born yet. And I've seen, the industry grow from not having any personal computers to doing everything on a Mac or a PC. And, what used to take, several people to do the work can now be done for like just a few that know the technology and the apps and the programs. But yeah, so started out at Time Magazine, was there for about 12, 13 years doing not only, I'm a production guy, so doing mostly production and manufacturing. In other words, planning with printing presses, with editors, with advertisers, making sure to put together a weekly product. I did both US and international at different times while I was there. And after at one point, there was a new magazine coming out called Emerge. It was a Black news magazine back at that time. And I'd been at Time Magazine for a number of years. And I was like, wow, Black news magazine. It was, this was the 80s, I guess. And I'd like to jump over to that and work on that. So worked on Emerge magazine for quite a while. And that was co-owned by Time, Warner, Black Entertainment Television, and some other folks. And at some point, BET bought out all other partners and said, hey, we want to start a magazine division. We want to move it to Washington, D.C., where I am now. I'm a New Yorker, but I live in Washington, D.C. area. And we want to start a bunch of magazines. And it was Emerge magazine, Young Sisters and Brothers magazine, BET Weekend magazine was a newspaper insert with over 1 million circulation. And eventually we actually bought Heart and Soul from Rodale Publishing. So, at one point I had 4 or 5 magazines under my belt, all under the BET umbrella, and was managing everything soup to nuts. So, and during that time, we always worked with a lot of groups and organizations in the community. It's part of our mission. It's part of every media company's mission to work with the folks in the community, whatever their focus is. If it's health, fitness, wellness, lifestyle, they'll have some groups and organizations that they work with. So, I was proud to work with the Black nurses, proud to work with the Black doctors, the Black bankers, and we always, you see it, the theme is Black. So we're happy to work with, groups and organizations that actually have a foothold in the community and are on the ground doing work. And we as media folks or publishers, our job is to help promote those groups and organizations, whether it be to tell you when their event is coming, Congressional Black Caucus, we're a media partner. So we're constantly doing stuff for them. Black Women's Expo, we're a media partner for them. We were doing a lot of stuff with them last year because it's a fully integrated package. When you're a media company, you need to really be talking to everybody in the community, not just writing at them, but you need to be interacting. You need to be, and I can't be on the ground everywhere, but nonprofits and all these other groups, they're on the ground. They're down in the trenches helping people that need food, that need housing, that need security, whatever it is. And my job is to help them do that and promote what they're doing. So that's my background. So we're in number of magazines. I'm a little bit of a techie guy. So yes, I'm a webmaster when I have to be. Yes, I know how to use Photoshop and all these other, what some people may think are esoteric programs, but to me, they're everyday tools that, I got to use. And, that's my background kind of in a nutshell.
You're like me. You're like a blurred. That's a Black nerd.
That's it. You know what? I got to use that. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, write that down. We're blurs, Black nerds, because I'm the same thing. I do all the production stuff and the tech, the website, the broadcasting, the live streaming, all the handshakes.
There you go.
It's a lot of work, man. It's like, it's no wonder when you reach out to these companies to have them do it, they charge you so much. Because, when you're down in the trenches doing it yourself, you realize the value of what all that is, just to understand those digital handshakes and how it all works. It's challenging.
It's a lot, but it's fun since I've seen it, the evolution of it from no tools, everything is pen and paper, to now I got tools like I can sit here and talk to you and have a great conversation where, years ago, who knew we were going to do podcasts and be streaming and doing all this other stuff? Nobody could envision that. But the fact that we have those tools now is so great because we can then integrate that into what our missions are.
Right. And if we have anybody on there that has any questions, we're going out to Twitter, we're going out to Facebook, we're going out to YouTube, we're going out to LinkedIn. I see we got Mark Carter on. He says if your company has any videos, he's down.
Okay.
That's cool. Are you guys doing video production with your magazine in conjunction with the things that you're doing right now?
Yeah, no, we're partnering with other folks that do the heavy video. We're a heavy story, text, writer, article, graphics. Now we love video. So when people send us video, we can incorporate that into what we do. It's fantastic, but we haven't done as much video. And we know that's the hot button, but we're just not, we're prepared to do interviews, live stories, bring people to the forefront that people don't know. But video is not our forte, so we need to partner with folks. So if he wants to have, yeah.
I'm gonna put my name in the hat. I'm a
Put your
full
name in the
video
hat. I was
production.
gonna say, put your name in the hat. Right.
You need anything out here on the West Coast, man? I'm your arm. So whatever you need, let me know.
Yeah, fantastic. And we love that because we know what we're good at. And we need some help on this other stuff.
Yeah. So I want to go into a little bit about PayGive. When Alvin Hartley from TMI UM told me about it, I jumped on it immediately because I don't know if you know, but I've been doing comedy fundraisers for 40 years, starting in Chicago, rolling through Boston for 5 years, New York for 10, 15, and then I've been out here for 15 years. And anytime that I can do a comedy fundraiser, I will. And then hooked up with Keith, the CEO of PayGive, and it was a perfect integration for doing comedy platforms. How do you wrap your mind around using PayGive for some of the things that you're doing? Because you're involved with a lot of foundations and nonprofits. You got campaign, you're helping people left and right. How do you see PayGive integrating with Heart and Soul what you're doing? What's your blueprint?
Yeah, we got introduced by Alvin as well, and what we immediately saw was it was another way to make it simple to help support nonprofit organizations in the community. It was like straightforward. You're going to do some of these things. You're going to buy, you're going to shop, you're going to travel, you're going to go to dinner. You're going to do those things every day, all day. So why not have a system and figure out how I can do what I normally do and take some of the cash back and give it to my favorite charity or organization? I mean, that's like a no-brainer. I don't know how they figured out how to do that, but I know how to put it in front of people that say, hey, here's a simple way that we can support all of our charities and organizations in the community. It's like a no-brainer. And like the fact that they have the technology, the fact that they have so many groups and organizations and retailers involved, that's like a blessing to me. If I had to build something like this, I don't even know where I would start. But the fact that I can take this, put it in front of my audience, put it in, and make it available to charities that I support. I mean, my wife works for American Diabetes Association. I mean, in my house, there's people that are in nonprofits, and I've worked at different groups and organizations over the years. And I'm like, this is perfect. You're going to do these things anyway. Why not use this product, use this service, and take some of the cash back and give it to them? Boom. It's like a no-brainer. So I started.
Yeah, no, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for sure. And the cool thing about it too is, working with a lot of comedians, they also do hundreds of fundraisers for nonprofits and for foundations and charities and different causes. And to let them know about how this all works too is also what makes me exciting. I could build my own army of comedians who are out there kind of pushing, the whole Laugh and Give Till It Hurts comedy campaign. So, and here's what comedians are the first to get exploited for a lot of things. They have to put thousands of hours of stage time in before they can even get paid. And then when they finally do getting paid, they still are shorted, or they still are asked to do this, asked to do that. And when they finally make it big, that's why they really go big, and they don't look back. But I've developed a campaign where comedians can get paid along the way while they're giving their talent to comedy fundraising. It's called tippingcomedians.com.
Oh, okay.
And so people in the audience,
Okay.
if they like the comedians that are giving their time on a comedy fundraiser, they can go to tipping.com and tip them as much money as they feel they want.
I like that.
And now
We need to do a
comedians
story
are
on that. Look, we need to do a story on that so we can promote it. I like it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want to do it, man, I'll be more
right.
than happy to give you a story on that. But you know, I kind of fell into it accidentally, like 30 years ago. One of the reasons I would get booked back to a lot of these comedy clubs is because I always would push tipping the wait staff, tip the bartenders, and you know, I would turn it into jokes. And I had one show where I was like, you know, you need to tip the valet parker, you need to tip the bathroom guy, you need to tip, you know, the cooks, the busboy. And I had the busboy come out, and I had the audience put together a nice little tip bucket, and we gave it to him. He was like, "What's this?"
He's like, "What's going on?" What's happening? Right.
It turned into like a funny comedy bit, right? So, you know, to have the dishwasher come out and get like $100 tip was just hysterical.
Right.
So one show, there was this lady in the front row. She was like, "Hey, we're all here for you. You should get a tip too." And I was like, "Yeah, you should tip the comedian. I'm the reason why you're here in the first place."
Right.
So I started making jokes about people tipping me, and I'd pick out a guy who looked, you know, affluent, and I'm like, "I know you're a trust. Maybe you could tip the comedian like a C note. I know you could do that." People would laugh, and then at the end of the show, you know, these are all jokes. At the end of the show, people came and they gave me tips, and I was like, you know what? I think there might be something here. And this was way before the internet.
Sure.
And now that the internet comes and people are comfortable with you know, Patreon and Cash App and PayPal and Zelle and Venmo, now it's like, okay, let me bring it back. And people actually are tipping me from those monetizable digital handshakes. So I just turned it into a thing for my comedians, and now I have a list of comedians that are on the drop-down menu of tipping comedians. And so when we do a fundraising show, that's the perfect time to be like, hey, you know, help the comedians out too that's here trying to do something cool for you guys.
Right. That's fantastic. I love it. I'm gonna steal some of your ideas. I mean, I incorporate you into what I'm doing now.
You should. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, 20% of the tip goes to PNN Academy to teach more stand-up comedy. The comics get 80% of that tip. So, there is a model where, you know, my comedy workshop can get, you know, some support off of those tips as well. So
I love it. That's
at home, you know, we got to eat too, you know.
Yeah. Everybody got to eat. Oh, no question about that. And that's why it's so important that we help support these groups and organizations. You know, after, you know, a couple of years of not getting any money because of COVID and not being able to do certain things, they need our support to build them back up so they can then turn around and help folks in the community. You know, it's so important.
And you know what, I think we're in a sweet spot for a new stand-up comedy bubble, you know, given everything that's gone down. What's your take on the state of stand-up comedy, both mainstream and African-American in America now? Where do you think,
well, you know,
where do you think we are with?
I love watching comedies, and me and my wife, we watch comedies all the time. And I just want people to kind of get over themselves. Don't be so extreme on some, oh, you can't say that, you can't do this. We need to get past that. These are jokes, folks. And the function is to make people laugh, make them have a good time. And, you know, we need those endorphins that good because there's so much bad going on around us. We need those endorphins and we need those jokes. And it's like, but we can't get so serious that there's subjects you can't talk about. No, that ain't it. You know, you got to be able to express yourself. You're always going to tick somebody off, even in media. No matter what I write, what I have, one of my writers writes, you know, no matter how good I think it is, somebody's not going to like it. You know, it's just life. You know, get over yourself. You can't. And the same thing with comedy. Oh, you don't like that joke? You don't like the comedian? Hey, don't tune in. You know, the rest of us love that sucker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know? So you don't have to tune in if you don't like them. Nobody's twisting your arm to go to that stream and go to that channel or to read that. No, let the rest of us live and do what we like to do. And you can find your own comedians that you agree with, but don't be so extreme that you can't have certain opinions and can't talk about certain subjects. That's just not how we're. That's just not how we're built. You know.
Right. Right. That's I feel the same way, man. You know, and being the guy who is an actual professional comedian
Right.
on the
Mhm.
front line of defending the freedom of speech and
Right.
being the ambassador of the last line of truth.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
I'm I concur with you, Dr. Brown, that
Right.
people should just lighten up with the jokes,
Yeah,
and
these are jokes. You know, we're not doing
and they
surgery.
they yeah,
Right.
but they also address what's right and what's wrong with our society so that we can then, through humor, go back and try to fix it. So a lot
Yeah,
of these are
yeah.
anecdotes,
Yeah, it's like
you know.
like a different kind of analysis. Everybody doesn't have the same view. Everybody doesn't have the same sensitivity. But at least if you talk about it, it's open. It's in a comedic forum. You can say, okay, let me think about that way. I never thought of it that way. Why?
Yeah, right,
It's just a different point of view
yeah.
and we're looking at things. Everybody doesn't see everything the same way. You know. So
And to be honest, that's all it's meant to do, is to get you to think about things that you don't want to think about, you don't want to talk about,
right.
and find your own way to heal from it, your own peace, your own way to address those
Mhm.
uncomfortable situations and
Right.
topics and issues, to figure out your own solution.
Right.
And
Right.
it's basically to stimulate your mind and your heart and your soul, and you might be the person that has a solution for a lot of these issues, once you give it some thought. So,
Right. Yeah.
you
That's
know,
that's the key word. Give it some thought. Think about it. Let it run around in your noodle, and then you figure it out, for yourself. But you got to
yeah,
get the information in, just like we pump information out all the time. Everybody don't want to accept it, but we pump the information out. We give it to you. We're a trusted source. Is like not giving you any BS from somebody that don't know what they're talking about, but we'll put
mhm,
the information out, and you as an intelligent adult have to act on it or figure out what you want to do with it. You know.
right. In the news here in California, the R word has been running around like crazy. It's been in the news. People are talking about it. California is even thinking about passing some kind of reparations legislation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, I'm developing some material around it,
I
so
was gonna
I've
say you
got
gotta have some material around that, right? Right.
I got a keen eye on it. But what's your take
Mhm.
on reparations? Like, if the government says, you know what, Clarence, we want you to be in charge of putting the whole reparations for America together. How do you see that work? And what would you do, and how would you do it? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, you can't give everybody 40 acres and a mule. That's, right? But, maybe there's a big education fund. Let people catch up. Let people go to school. There's got to be something that um, helps even the playing field, because that's what we're talking about. Folks that have generational wealth for years, where our land was stolen from us, or through eminent domain or other crazy things that they came up with. There's got to be a way to set up a fund to say, okay, this happened to your family, this happened to your group. How do we give you a leg up, right? Give you a chance to catch up, because let's face it, um, we had tons of land that we owned. We had houses, we had businesses. We just came out of, Juneteenth, when people didn't know it was free till, because they weren't told, you know. We
Right.
had a whole lot of stuff going on. It's not like there's no racism now. Let's be real, right? There's still that.
Hmm.
You walk in the room, I walk in the room, we get in the elevator, somebody clutch their purse. I'm like, why are you clutching your purse? I probably got more money than you, but you're gonna clutch your purse because you got that, in your brain. Okay, there's a black guy in it. But no,
Right.
to me, my first thing would be education fund. Because let's face it, we can do great things when we given the opportunity, right? And we're given the tools. And once you get educated, and once you get some tools and create our network, we still got a network amongst ourselves.
Mhm.
You can't stop us. But the only way you stop us is you say you can't get that. You can't go to that school. You can't live in that neighborhood. You can't build a house there. You can't be a farmer. Oh, come on, man. What James Brown said? I don't need nobody. Give me nothing. Just open up the door. That shows my age, right? Just open up the door and I get it myself. Just open up the door.
Yep, that's all you gotta do.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think it's a combination of, a lot of it. I think because so much wealth was created on the land, I think the first thing that needs to happen is acquisition of land that we can then have indefinite resource, indefinite economics off of that land that we can put back into being self-sustaining. So I think the reparations needs to have a self-sustaining component. And the only thing that really is hardcore proof that it just dirt makes money every single day.
That's true.
For as long as dirt is dirt is going to make that money. Those mineral rights, what the French did with Africa,
especially talking about the diaspora,
all of that. And the Africans can't even sell their own resource, even if the French don't want to use it, because the French have locked in for centuries the rights to all mineral rights.
Right.
And they're suffering because of it. So if you look at that, and and you look at us, no matter how you slice and dice it, having ownership of land, having mineral rights, having the freedom to have economic power in the world, to have your own price, your own deal, your own market. That alone can create enough wealth that we can then create our own schools. We can create our own food distribution. We can create our own banking. We can create our own education. It's like having the resource through land.
You need that other piece. You still need that financial literacy and everything to make sure that you can do the best you can with your assets. You still need that financial literacy part, and that's where the education part comes in, so that you can keep that in the family and don't get rooked, gypped, whatever, hacked. So that
But I also think there should.
I agree with you.
But I also think that there should be some instant insertion of cash into some of the black hands to do an instant level up, and an instant leg up, because there's a lot of us. If we had a boost, we could do really cool things for our businesses and for our families and for our lives. Like we're not so far behind the 8 ball that we can't take a little bit of grease and do some amazing things in addition to getting some land and some economics and some foothold. I think even a little grease to help us take what we're doing right now to a whole nother level should be part of that as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. I think it's multifaceted what needs to happen. Just how do we get the needle to move? I hear you. How do we get it to move? So,
and when they say for those who qualify, why does there have to be a qualification for reparation when you didn't qualify to take it? You didn't qualify to tear people upside down, to kill us and hang us and slaughter us and rape us. There was no qualification for that. But now there's got to be a qualification to get the reparation. That's the part that I'm trying to write some material around. Because that seems to be okay, obviously there's some white people behind that logic.
Of course, because somebody in a financial capacity is like, okay, how do we divvy this up? So we got to have some forms to fill out, and we got to have some criteria, and and all of that, so that we can weed out. Just so they can weed out, so they don't have to pay everybody. It's just so they can weed it out.
Right. It's fascinating, man.
Yes.
Well, listen, I am so excited we had a chance to chop it up, and I would love to have you back, and we can go few more rabbit holes. As we get closer to my Parkinson's fundraiser, I'll keep you in the loop.
Please keep me informed, and anybody that's listening, keep me informed. I mean, we run stuff for people all the time. Where's your event? What's happening? What's going on? What's it going to? We do that all day, every day, because that's what we're here. We're trying to get information out to folks. So the more information, the better. That's just what we do. Because if you just do it in your little circle, you may not make as much money as you need. But if you can, give it to somebody like me or some of the other publishers out there, there's a bunch of Black publishers. If they're willing to, promote your event, or at least put you in a list. This is what's happening in June in Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta. It's just information. Information dissemination is what we do, right? We don't always have a physical magazine, but every day we have new content on heartandsoul.com every day. So,
and I'd be honored to do an interview with you about tipping comedians.
I'd love that. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be fantastic. I think that would get a lot of hits.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. You want to give us a quick little where we can find you on social medias and your website?
Yeah, it's Heart and Soul Magazine. Yeah, it's Heart and Soul Magazine. It's heartandsoul.com. A-N-D. No, not the and sign, guys. Heartandsoul.com is the website. And you know what? I got I got to look on my Facebook page. You know what? I shrank down some of these tabs that I have open, and you just go into Heart and Soul Magazine on Facebook. That's our main page, is where we put new material every day. And we'll, I have my personal ones. I'll throw that out there. Clarence Brown. I mainly hang out on LinkedIn, believe it or not, because for quite a while I was not feeling Facebook. I'm like, people think this is news. This ain't news. This is, unless you come from a trusted source,
right.
Everybody's got an opinion, but that ain't making it news. So for a while there, I wasn't feeling Facebook, but I'm on LinkedIn. And and Heart and Soul's on Facebook, and I'm on Facebook. So please look us up, contact us, email us, whatever. cbrown@heartandsoul.com. That's me. I don't care. Email me as much as you want. I'll be happy to help you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You can find me and my comedy at podbrother.com. You can also tip me and my comedians at tippingcomedians.com. And programs like this you can see on podbrothernation.com. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's a lot of fun. Clarence, it's always amazing to chop it up with you. And thank you for taking some time to hang out with us. And I will see you around the corner with some Pay Give events. And
yes, you will.
Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
All right. So happy to be
Peace out,
here with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.